This Tim Talk, welcome to Tim Talks. This Tim Talk is called Hope is Eternal. We live, no doubt, you know it, in crazy times. Now, I think if you go back in human history, most any human would tell you who went through challenging times that they were crazy times. And it's all true, right? But when it's personal, when it's your time, when it's in your life, when it's happening to you daily, that's what stands out. And we're in crazy times, which so many of these Tim Talks have been about, where we have global warming, we have the fall of our government, our free government potentially is in trouble. We have a war in Ukraine. We have starvation around the world and people trying to find new homes because of global warming. A million animals on the verge of extinction. And I'm just scratching the surface, right? It's a lot of weight to bear. Oh, man, it's a lot of weight to carry. And we always teach in my outdoor school, Headwaters, feel your feelings and feel what others feel, empathy. The scary part of that, the danger of that is, the risk of that is that if you take in all the weight of all that's happening in the world, and you tend to, human beings, we just tend to spend more time paying attention to the negative things than the good. That weight, if you're a caring, sensitive person, can be tough. So it's really important to understand hope is eternal. An incredible saying. So let this in. Take a moment, breathe, and let it in. All the darkness of the world cannot put out the light of one small candle. Another way I like to say it is all the darkness cannot put out the light of a star in the sky. There's tremendous hope. The human race, as crazy as we are, and I mean that when I say crazy, I mean that not in a horribly negative way. We're a little bit of everything, you know. We're in the process of finding ourselves, finding the earth caretaker in us, that being that is a force for change. It lives within us, and we need to birth it the earth caretaker way and be a part of the good. That's one way we mitigate and handle all the difficulty. We're a part of the change. We're of the good. There's an old great saying from the Grateful Dead I love. Sometimes if you look just right, you might just see the light. Sometimes if you look just right, you might just see the light. The light's everywhere. You have to let it in. And at the same time, be aware of the problems and work for the good. Be a force for change. It's challenging, but there really is no other answer. The hope for me is everywhere. We created the national park system. I've been starting this project now called the Earth Caretaker Way, and I'm writing a book that's going to be out at the end of this year in early 2023, the Earth Caretaker Way. And so I look around the world. I've been studying a lot for this book. There are people all over the world, young and old alike, working for social justice and for our planet. It is huge. It's happening everywhere. We've done so many good things. You know, the Clean Water Act, the National Park System, protecting the earth in so many ways, the oceans. President Obama, on the last months of his presidency, saved over 800 million square miles of ocean and another 800 million square miles of land. President Biden came back in, and the parks that Trump destroyed by giving them over to oil companies, he brought them all back. There's people all over the world helping. I read once that more money is donated around the world to help causes by Americans than all the countries put together. And I'm not putting down other countries. I'm saying there's goodness out there. It's everywhere. Sometimes you got to work to look for it, but it's there. So yes, I do have hope. And finally, Only 5% of the people generally change the world. In fact, Margaret Mead, and I've said this before because it's one of the greatest quotes I've ever heard. She said she was an anthropologist that really studied human behavior, particularly our ancestors. And she said, don't ever doubt that a few small committed citizens can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever does or ever has. That's true. And that gives me tremendous hope. So the question is, don't be a couch potato. Get out there and get involved. Be the force for change. It's really the only answer. To live on the other side of that and just be miserable and see all the problems, you're just making everything worse by doing that. We need to be the force for change, and it will change. Heck, as crazy as the human race is, we've made it this far. Thousands of years we've made it, right? Through war, through craziness that we are. And we're better now than we were ever before. I have tremendous hope, but I'm not a fool. There's a lot of problems out there. There's a lot of problems. The darkness, as they say, can be deep, but we simply need to work for the side that makes the world better for all living beings. The earth, humans, animals, everything. Remember, at the end of the day, we're all in the same boat. We live on this earth. It's our only earth. And we're all trying to do one thing, whether we're insects, trees, plants, humans, every kind of animal, we're all trying to do one thing. Live our lives, feed ourselves, take care of each other, be healthy, and do something that matters, whether it will matter what that is. That's who we are. So I have hope going into the future. I hope you get some from this, and I hope you go out and find the things to be hopeful for. Hope. You know, I started these talks, and I still believe they're mostly for our alumni and future students, people who are interested in coming to our school, to continue with the teachings of the school, or to be introduced to the teachings of the school. Which, if I had to break it down, it would be to build a deep personal relationship with nature, reclaim our birthright to be close to our earth in a personal way, and a call to action, a willingness to take on the idea of becoming an earth caretaker as one of the purposes, if not the main purpose, of our life on earth. That's what these talks are about. I hope they inspire people, and I'd love to hear from you on ideas for talks you might like to hear and questions you might have if I brought any up.